Welcome to Pera's Playbook. This is your host, Alex Pera. Let's open up our playbook and see who our guest is. Please enjoy. Welcome to episode 127 of Pera's Playbook. Today we've got Diego Moreno on the podcast. That's back-to-back Cobra Kai episodes as Diego played the Team Mexico captain at the Sekai Taikai in Season 6, Part 2 of Cobra Kai. So if you haven't watched Cobra Kai at all, or if you haven't watched Season 6, Part 2, there could be some spoilers throughout this episode. But Diego, appreciate you hopping on. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you? Thanks for inviting me here. Thanks for,
Yeah.
sharing all my experiences and,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
down to discuss everything.
This is great. No, I'm excited. Cobra Kai is it's got to be one of my favorite shows right now. It's such a great show. They do such a great job across the board. I mentioned this in the last episode. I think it's so awesome that they have like a new storyline, but they also take old Karate Kid storylines and they kind of like intertangle them together. And I think it's a fantastic show. Um, that you don't have to be a Karate Kid fan to like it either. Like there's totally such a new side of it that can be what gets you kind of into that universe. And we'll dive into that here a little bit later. But were you a Karate Kid fan growing up? Or I mean, did you, were you a Cobra Kai fan before you got on the show?
Well, right now, of course, like everybody, I'm both. But yeah, I was way before Cobra Kai was huge Karate Kid fan because my parents, my mom actually, she used to watch the movies as, as a kid. And I growing up, I watched them with her or with my dad too. We watched them all together. And yeah, growing up watching Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, the OGs, the legends, Ralph Macchio and William Zabka. And then this new continuation of the story, Cobra Kai, incorporating all those past storylines, like how you said, into this new generation of new characters, new people, new faces, and it's turned out to be, a hell of a ride.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much that happens in Cobra Kai. Like watching season 6, I went back and watched a little bit of some of the earlier seasons, and I had forgotten like how much changed from season 1 to season 6. It's really crazy, kind of the character arc that some of those characters have. And that also shows you a good show, like when the characters really develop from like season 1 to season 6. That proves that you've got a good TV show.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so how did you get on Cobra Kai? Like how did you land your role?
Well, this goes all the way back to this year, February. So, Cobra Kai was actually my first ever acting experience in this industry, which was incredible, by the way. But yeah, I was, looking for, because since I was a kid, I always wanted to be like on television, TV, like however, right? And as I was looking at like, casting calls for movies and TV shows and stuff, I saw that they were doing Cobra Kai, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But I didn't really see any like roles that were like, pretty good, right? And then back, we're in February. I see that they're casting for countries, right? Countries, and then in my head, I'm expecting, oh, this is gonna be like a international, like a World Cup in like soccer, right? Type vibe, but in karate. So, and then I see Mexico. I myself, I'm Mexican. I have Mexican parents, but I was born here in Atlanta, Georgia. But as I saw the application, I sent out the email. They asked for my name, my height, my weight, my headshots, photos, and another like requisite, right, prerequisite, however you say it,
Yeah.
to the application was like past experience. Like, do you have any like fighting experience, martial arts experience? And then you have to fill it out. I myself do have past experience, but yeah, I filled out all that information out. I sent it to them, and then they texted me, emailed me back saying, "Okay, the production team, we'll see, we'll get back to you some other day." And I'm like, okay. Days pass, and I'm like, dang, I'm not hearing anything, right? I started to get worried. I was like, dang it, I didn't make it, right? And I was like, damn, what a shit, that's That's pretty bad. I was like, dang, I wish I could have been on the show. But then I submitted again, and they reached out to me the day before filming. So they texted me saying, "Do you want to be, a fighter, right? Team Mexico?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then another message saying, "But do you want to be captain?" And I was like, "Of course, man, of course." And then I was so excited, so ready to, and it was the next day too. So I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So like, so many emotions at that time.
Yeah, that's crazy. And for your first acting role, to have a piece in such a like a huge show right now. Hey, a lot of people, their first acting roles are in shows that nobody's ever heard of. They're kind of low grade movies and TV shows. So to get something in such a popular TV show to be one of those characters, a piece of the puzzle is really cool. So I wanted to talk about like, did you have a martial arts background? Because I had Phoebe French on the last episode, and she said she
Hmm.
did not have any before she joined, and they kind of had to like do a crash course in karate. So she, had looked like she was doing the right stuff, when you'd see her in a dojo or whatever. So like, did you grow up, doing martial arts as a kid, or?
Yeah, so I like in late elementary school to almost all of middle school, I was in Taekwondo, and it was about I did it for about like three years, about right. It's been years ago, so it's kind of my memory's kind of iffy on that. But yeah, about like 3 years, and I got to black belt recommended. That's like the one before black belt. So that's where my journey was on martial arts experience.
Yeah. So when they asked, like, do you have martial arts experience? You're, of course I do. You're not going to tell them how much you have. You just yes. I
Yeah,
had a
yeah,
I had a professor in college. He said when you're applying for jobs, if it asks you and you've done something once for 1 hour, you say you're an expert. Like you just say you're an expert in anything you've ever done because like all you need to do is get your foot in the door. And then,
yeah.
like that's all it takes. And that's kind
Yeah,
of similar
you're
to
in.
that. You're right, yeah. You're right. So did they like run you through, like did you have to kind of do like a crash course in karate too? Like, hey, this is kind of how things work.
Actually, in my time, in my experience being there, we did not have a crash course on that. But there were some scenes where it was mostly improvisation, right?
Yeah.
We just kind of did our own thing. We kind of made up our own choreography as like when we needed to fight in like the last episode. We just made we just made it up through there, and it like turned out to be very, very great. They just all let us do our own thing, and then we all had the same mindset to get it done, and we did it pretty good.
Yeah. So I want to get into that you're talking about the last episode. Um, that's I didn't see that coming, right? Like they were fighting and you could tell things were getting tense when Robbie was over on the side and Quan gives him the jab and you're like, okay, things are getting tense. But then when the Russian sensei comes out of like nowhere and drops Gunter, I was
In
like,
front
this,
of them.
and then he just says like, "Come on!" and everybody is rushing, and people are just beating the ever living crap out of anyone they can find. Senseis are grabbing kids and throwing them around, and the refs are trying to get out of control, and people are just dropping them. Just absolute insanity. I was totally shocked at what was going on in that. It was just chaos.
Yeah, no, it was absolute madness. I mean, I guess in my time being there, that was like the most fun day ever. It was actually 2 days that it took us to film that whole brawl sequence. But yeah, I mean, we didn't even they didn't even tell us like really like time before. It was like right before doing the scene, like, okay, guys, we're gonna beat each other up. It's gonna be crazy. And I'm like, okay, let's get it down, right? And then yeah, it's everything that happened. It was so fun to do because everybody's just grabbing each other, punching everybody, like absolute chaos. It was the best, right? It was crazy.
Yeah. So who are you fighting most? Like, do you remember like what dojos was Mexico fighting against? I mean, there was so much going on. I can't really remember. Like, I watched it and I was like, just chaos. Like, you don't remember who was fighting who.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of fighting everybody, but I mostly remember fighting the Brazilian team, the Germany team, and then I don't know if you remember that scene where Juan hits the camera and then he falls down, right? And he's like screaming, and then he
Yeah.
sees the knife. In the back, you can see me fighting somebody from Spain. So I fought somebody from Spain, and it was, chaos. Everybody grabbing each other. You would have like one hit at somebody else and somebody else would grab you. It was insane.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, did you feel like you had some sort of a disadvantage because you like karate skills might not have been as good as some of those other people who were like true and true karate people?
I mean, for I think it was pretty good because some of the fights were more coordinated. The others, like I would say, the main characters, they were focused on each other mostly. But I guess like some like on my team or like the some people, it was like a collection of stuff, right? Some people were more focused on like the main fights, like Robbie versus Quan, or that would be more centered towards them each other, right? And like for me and like other people, we would just, fight whoever we could see, and then we would just make up the choreography because every cut, right? Because we had to do a lot of takes. We would just do the same thing over and over again. So, nobody would mess up. So I think we were all pretty on the same level, I guess I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, well you said like just grab anyone you could find. That was kind of crazy in the show, right? Like people are running away and you got somebody just like grabbing them and attacking them from behind. I mean, total like fighting ethics went out the window in that scene. You're at the and it's all live, right? Like the people are back in California at the LaRusso house watching it and you see oh, what are the two characters? I can't remember their names right now, but
I
they're
think
like, we
I
should have
think
snuck in the suitcase.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Like I had raw
Bert,
experience.
yeah, Bert and I can't remember the other kid, but they're
Nate,
like,
I think.
yeah, yeah, we got great Brawl experience. We should be there.
Yeah, brother, they should have showed up, bro. I could have showed them a little of my skills.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's really cool too that they like did this international tournament so that you have all these different national teams and kind of like representing other countries on the TV show and getting actors from around the world involved in it or people with different backgrounds. It really was a cool it kind of idea for the show to kind of take Cobra Kai global more than it was too, right? Like somebody might have been watching season 6 just because like they knew there was a Mexican dojo or an Irish dojo or whatever. They're like, hey, like our country's here. That's sweet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, they had to go big for this last season, especially to like conclude, right? This all the story arcs, right? And especially the story arc of the whole show. They had to go global, had to bring out the best fighters from each country, right? Make it a big chaotic moment, especially like how you saw in the last episode leading up to that moment where Quan, right? Quan unfortunately, you know he he did it to himself, I guess.
He
Kind
did.
of. Yeah.
He did, right? Like he grabs the knife and he's gonna kill somebody else if he doesn't kill himself. Like that is his goal. He's trying to kill Axel, and then he falls on it. So it's, I mean, like,
Yeah. I mean, there could have been like more security at the Saikai guy, to be honest.
right? Yeah, I mean, you see like three security guards get knocked out right away, and that's it, right?
Yeah, it
And
was
then
out of
the
control.
poor ref was just overwhelmed,
Oh yeah, yeah.
trying to trying to stop it because that Russian dojo was just like absolutely berserk. They were totally rogue, going
Yeah, they
nuts.
they should have gotten disqualified from the second that happened, right? They shouldn't even be allowed to come back.
Right? Yeah,
But
like why were they still there? They were whatever for doping, but like they were still there obviously because he just came out and bopped him in the face.
exactly.
So obviously you were in the Mexican dojo, but what side did you feel closer to Miyagi-Do or Cobra Kai?
I would say Cobra Kai. I mean, even
Yeah,
though Even though I like, the Cobra Kai, like the OG Cobra Kai, the American one, even though Korea is pretty cool, especially with their logo and everything, but I reside more with the Miyagi-Do side, with the find your balance and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It just cracks me up like throughout the show when you got Johnny and his strike first, like offense, and then Daniel and his find your balance and kind of peace and serenity and like these totally different
Yeah, the
ideologies going
offensive and
at
the
it.
defensive side.
Yeah, just squawking at each other. I think that's one of the things that makes the show the best. You have these two people that were like mortal enemies in high school, and now they're acquaintances, but they don't get along. They're like an old married couple, they're just squawking at
Yeah.
each other.
Especially Johnny's humor is like the best. Man.
Oh
He's
yeah.
he's exactly the same in person too. William Zabka. It's like it's crazy.
That's what Phoebe said. She said he's like really funny guy, like doing pranks on set, and she said that Ralph was he's a little more serious on set than like Zabka is, and she said it's like they almost have that kind of part of their character in real life.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, they do.
So, what was it like to like jump into this show, right, with all these big actors? I mean, you've got the big actors from the original movies, and now you've got all these younger actors that are now getting prominent roles all over the place because of their success on Cobra Kai. So, what was it like to kind of get thrown into that dynamic?
Yeah, I mean it was just out of the blue, right? I was excited because I'm a fan of Cobra Kai as well. So it was crazy just to my first date was in the aquarium in the aquarium scene where like the captains meet up. So, immediately that was, the all the actors came in. It was the scene was more of the young actors, right? So getting to and the Mexican dojo in that scene when we're taking the picture, in Barcelona in the aquarium, we got placed right behind Miyagi-Do. So you can see me behind Sam and Robbie. But yeah, it was insane, just like a surreal moment having them in front. I was like, wow, it's so close, right? But yeah,
Right.
they're all pretty cool, and they all have their different personalities, but they're really kind and nice to like everybody. And it was very easy to make friends with them, especially with Sholo, right? And very very
Yeah.
easy. I got along with them pretty well. We connected. It was we good times on set. It was the best.
Yeah. That's cool. Right, because I mean, like they'd been working together for years, and then here's this new guy just showing up. Like they could have they didn't have to treat you well, and you hear stories in Hollywood where the bigger actors, right, they don't always treat everyone well. So it's nice to hear that they were welcoming and let you in and
Yeah, yeah, I hear those stories too, but yeah, I mean, I've heard from like other actors that they all say pretty much the same thing I just said right now, how like they were so welcoming and yeah, they're all nice. They, of course they want to talk to you, have conversations, be your friends too, and I mean, if you're friendly with them as well, of course, it's all
right.
about it's all about good intentions. But yeah, it was very very nice, very to finally see how everybody was in person and to like live that experience too.
Yeah. So how long were you, on set for filming? How long did that take?
So I was from February when I first got that role. It was from February to May, so 4 months was my time at Cobra Kai filming part two and part three. Even though you can still see me because they showed the tournament at the end of part one. Because that's like the cliffhanger, I would say, for the
Right.
next part. But yeah, 4 months was my whole time there, and I'm very grateful for the whole experience and for all the connections and like the friends I made there. So and
Yeah.
to learn to learn about them right as well.
Did it go by quick?
I would say looking back at it, it was not quick, but as of now, it's like dang, the time passes quick. So and it's crazy. And now it's December.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like you're coming on a year since you joined the show, which is kind of got to be kind of crazy to think about. You're almost 1 year removed from it.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane to just think about it. It almost seemed like it was just like, like 1 month ago, just a few weeks
Yeah.
ago.
So, who do you think is the ultimate fighter in Cobra Kai? Who's the best fighter on the whole show?
Best fighter. In character,
Yeah, in character.
I would say Quan, honestly.
You
Quan
think
is the
so?
best. Yeah, because he actually has a Taekwondo experience in real life. He's like, a black belt and he's a champion, right? But yeah, he all his like his 540-degree kicks or all those types of kicks that he did was it was so like amazing to see in real life, especially for that Miyagi-Do versus Cobra Kai fight where especially it's like it's mostly focused on Robbie versus Quan, where they're both jumping in the air, and seeing Quan just do anything, do all the flips and stuff, it was very cool.
So if you had to pick any fighter to like be your champion and like fight, he'd be the guy you'd pick to like fight for you.
I mean, not probably not, but I would say it would be a close second. I would probably choose maybe Miguel or
Yeah,
Quan,
yeah. And going
but
with one of
not
the young guys, not none of the old
yeah.
experienced guys.
Yeah, probably not Quan because he's a very short-tempered, right? He's out, seeking revenge and he's got a different mentality. But I guess
Yeah,
Miguel could be more, centered to Miyagi-Do, more balanced, right?
yeah. See, I feel like I lean towards more of the one of the older guys with more experience to be like
Hmm.
the champion fighter. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. This is terrible. Daniel's friend from from Korea who stayed Chosen, is that
Oh yeah,
yeah.
chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I think I might pick him to be my champion because he has some pretty sweet moves
Oh,
in the show, some impressive stuff.
oh yeah. He was pretty good back in Cobra Karate Kid too, with that whole scene at the end with Daniel LaRusso. That was
Yeah.
like one of the best. I really liked that. It was a cool fight that all came together.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I would probably agree with you too.
right. But I mean, he is older, so that would go against him, like his
Yeah,
stamina, right? Like, if he
yeah,
doesn't win real quick, I don't know if you want him to like hold up against somebody like Quan.
yeah. It would have to be prime chosen, right? Just to go against
Right,
Quan.
yes.
Not not,
Not drunk chosen who shows up at the
not
the mixer.
yeah. No, that's not a good look for them.
No. So, who's your favorite character from like the show?
The show, hmm, I would like to separate in two categories, right?
Okay.
Like the older OGs and then the young people. I would say Miguel or Devin for the younger
Okay, yeah.
generation, and I would have to go with LaRusse. I just can't pick one, right? That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Uh, I would say LaRusse or Lawrence, but I would have to say LaRusse.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely Johnny for me too. Like, I mean, like going off Cobra Kai, I think he brings so much to the show with his humor and the way he plays that character. I think it's just hilarious. He's always drinking his Coors Banquet beer, and he's like such a like in the first couple of seasons, he's talking about like all the old '80s movies. Like he's just so stuck in the '80s. Like
Yeah, exactly. Like
he hasn't moved
all,
on yet.
all the new terminology doesn't get to him, and that's the funny part of like some bits he has on the show.
Yeah. I also really like, and this might sound crazy because he's like one of the bad guys, but I really like Terry Silver because I think Thomas Ian Griffith plays him so well. I think the acting is great. Like he plays that kind of like psychopath, like, right? Like, he's like using these kids and he's like taking what's screwed up in their lives and they're like coming to him and he's kind of like using that for his own gain and he plays that role so well, that like that horrible bad guy, and I think
Yeah,
that's why I
he's
like it.
he's like that like maniac. He like master manipulator, right? He
Yeah,
really
totally.
he really works behind the scenes very well. I guess that's how he's such a good villain.
Yeah,
He's not really
and
like
like
front lines only when he needs to, right?
right, like on the outside he puts that like, here, I'm here to help you and I'll buy you nice things and all this stuff, like I'm a great guy. Like behind the scenes he's just a total slime ball, but
Yeah.
the acting is just so good that I think that's why he ends up being one of my favorite characters. So do you have more acting in the works now that you kind of got in? Like, is this something you're going to keep pursuing? More acting roles?
Yeah, yeah, that's the goal. I mean, that's my dream, right? Just pursuing more acting roles. But yeah, I've gotten some more. I've got I recently did a show called Found. It's on season two. They show it on NBC and Peacock.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
in that show, and because it's a crime show, right? Like I would
yeah.
compare it to like Criminal Minds, I guess, in a way. But in that show, I play one of the son of one of the actresses, and in the show, my name is Nathan. So it was, a good experience to be on there. And another one that I we're recently doing is Stranger Things. Well, I can't say too much, right? I'm under contract, but
Wow, that's cool.
yeah,
You're in some huge Netflix shows, dude. That's
yeah. I
awesome.
mean, yeah, it helps a lot, especially since we all film in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta United. But yeah, it's every they all film here. It's like the new Hollywood. So yeah,
Yeah. That's crazy. That Found show, I see the previews for it all the time because I watch Peacock a lot. I watch a lot of sports on Peacock and stuff. So I always see the previews for that show. And then obviously everybody knows Stranger Things. So that's pretty sweet too that you're on like two of the biggest shows in Netflix right now is Cobra Kai and
yeah, yeah.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, but yeah, we're slowly getting there, trying to find, the good roles and and make it worthwhile because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you're gonna forever be a part of those universes, right? Like even if you have a super small background character role, nobody can ever take away from you the fact that you were on Cobra Kai, you worked with those actors, that you were on Stranger Things, like you did all this stuff. Like you're always gonna have a character that lives in that universe.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
always
which
gonna be
is
you.
yeah, it's crazy, it's very exciting.
So I saw something on your Instagram, Netflix Geeked Week.
Mm.
What's that?
Well, yeah, it was an event that Netflix did back in September. I'm confident, and uh, it was an event that they announced like their new TV shows, new movies. They show like trailers, sneak peeks, stuff like that, right? And they were hosting it here in Atlanta, Georgia. So of course I had to go, right? And I don't know if you know this, but the place where the event was, right? It was also outside, but the presentation, like I call it the concert venue,
Yeah.
was where we actually filmed the Saikai Taikai for part two.
Yeah.
It's the exact same place, so it was very cool to just get back into this familiar place. No, everything were like all the rooms were so,
Right.
but yeah, it was exciting event. There was stuff activities to do outside and inside. It was like stuff like from Squid Games to like Wednesday, One Piece, Cobra Kai, of course, Arcane. All those big Netflix shows. And an exciting thing that when I went into the event is I actually got to see my my old coworkers, right, from Cobra Kai once again, Sholo Maridueña and Jacob Bertrand, Miguel and Hawk.
Yep.
And it was nice to hang out with them a little bit, talk a little bit more, catch up, right? And I also saw like some other people, like other coworkers, like people like my other captain from Team Mexico, right? I got to see her again, some old faces, old friends, catch up on what we've been doing. But yeah, it was very fun and great time.
Which show have you had more fun on? Stranger Things or Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai, definitely, hands down, hands down.
Cobra Kai
That's
never dies.
Yeah, Cobra exactly, no mercy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was of course Cobra Kai because I just made once again, all these friends, all these contacts, connections, right? Networking.
Yeah.
But and all these great memories, fun memories that like are lifelong, I would say. And they'll always be there, especially like I have a bunch of photos, bunch of videos behind the scenes. And whenever I watch the show, I'll be like, oh, this is when this happened. So yeah, I would 100% say Cobra Kai. It's 4 months, right? It's a
Right.
long
That's
time being there.
it is a long time of your life. And Yeah, totally lifelong memories that you'll be telling your grandkids about someday. They'll be like, "Hey, Grandpa, we were watching this old show," and you'll be like, "I was on that show."
Yeah. They're like,
But
yeah, we
by
can
then
see
you'll be a huge actor, and everyone's gonna know who you are, so that your grandkids will just know automatically that
yeah,
you
I mean, hey, hopefully, yeah, that's what we strive for. But yeah,
right. So, I mean, this being a sports podcast, we might as well talk a little sports aside from martial arts. And based on your Instagram, I'm gathering that you're a big soccer guy, and you're repping a jersey right now. You said Atlanta United, so big soccer guy.
yeah, no, yeah, of course. Since I was a little kid, I guess since I was a baby, right? Even before I was born, it was already decided. Yeah, my
In your
my
DNA.
family, yeah, it's in my genes and my DNA. Soccer runs through it. But yeah, I always enjoyed watching, playing, keeping up with soccer or football. That's how we say it in Mexico, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, a bunch of friends. We all share the same interest. Playing, watching soccer. I support Atlanta United, of course, from the MLS. LA Galaxy is also a big team that I rep. Also with their jersey, I have it somewhere. It's in my closet. I wore it the other day. But from like Mexico, I like Chivas from Guadalajara. They're they're like my top team, number one team that I support always since birth since
yeah.
since in the womb. But yeah, and then I like Barcelona too. But yeah, I watch all the leagues and stuff, so always fun.
That's that's like the one sport that I've never gotten into. Like I'm a huge sports guy. Obviously, I got a sports podcast, right? So I love sports, but like I've never gotten into soccer except for like I like Olympic soccer. I watch it. I watch the World Cup and like follow like kind of like the national scene. But like other than that, I don't. I'm ignorant to soccer. Like I don't even know if I could name five professional soccer players right now.
I mean,
Like
I mean, you probably got like the main ones like Ronaldo, right?
yeah,
I bet, yeah,
Ronaldo and yeah, you mean Messi, right? And you
yeah.
think of a few of them, and like I can picture a couple in my head right now, but I'm drawing a blank on their names. But like I mean I really like the national scene, right? Because every country there's so much pride, especially for some of these countries where soccer a little bit different in the United States because soccer's not the main premier sport. Like I mean we have plenty of years where our men's team doesn't even make it. Our women's
Hmm.
team has been top notch,
Yeah,
over the
yeah,
past
that too.
15 years, but the men's team is kind of been a disaster in different times. Um, I remember different years where they didn't even make the World Cup, and it was like, well, what the heck?
Yeah, yeah. I
But other
remember. I remember those
countries,
times.
right, and everyone else is probably happy. They're like, haha, they didn't make
Yeah,
it.
I guess they've always been like the kind of joke, but in the soccer world. But like recently, they've gone back into the motion U.S. soccer. So I've seen that they've gone better. So I guess they're proving the people wrong in that
Yeah,
aspect, right? As they're slowly working from like the institution right inside to make the national team better. But yeah, I've also enjoyed the national team, like the World Cup, the just anything to do with like international trophies and stuff. That's always fun because like how you said the pride and like the passion, right? It's just like no other, especially when you're like singing the national anthem. It's like you feel like you have like the whole country on your back, and it's a dream even to like want to play like as a kid, right? Oh, I want to represent the team, and I guess I kind of I did that when I represented Mexico in Cobra Kai being the team captain. So
right.
I kind I kind of put those two and two together. Like I always wanted to represent the Mexican soccer national team, but I can do it here, and one of the big series of Cobra Kai.
Yeah, no, that's really cool way to look at it, actually. Like you represented your country um, through the TV show, but like you're still representing your country. You were the Mexican dojo. Everybody, like you said, grows up. They want to represent their country in whatever sport they play. And now acting is your thing, and you represented Team Mexico on the show. So that is a cool way. I didn't even think about it like in the same way as soccer. Um,
Yeah.
but that is definitely neat.
Yeah,
So,
it was such a dream just to be able to make that dream come true, right?
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody dreams of whatever it is. Like you want to play in the NFL, you want to play professional, whatever it is. You want to be an actor, like you said. But then, like I said earlier in the show, I mean, to have your first role be such a huge, part of such a huge show, it is really cool. Um, that's your starting point, and it gives you a really good base. Like you mentioned networking a lot. I mean, networking is so important no matter what you're doing, whether you're in sports, acting, you're in college and you're trying to get a job. It's all about the people you meet, and people don't always get it right away. But like that person you meet, it might be like 5 years down the road, and now like that connection is important for some reason or another. I mean, getting jobs and maybe you need a favor, whatever's going on. Like networking is just so huge, and I feel like not enough young people do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you're gonna learn a lot about like for like when you network from like people that have experience, you can learn from them. And like that's what I did, like being Cobra Kai my first experience. I looked around the set, you know how like the production team works, how everything really runs down in a film set and a TV show setting, and just how the actors, how they prepare, how they work, how they like perform, seeing all the practices, seeing all the, you know, all the everything come together in like all the talks right in the background and just the final product in the end. It's really been like such a learning experience to me.
Yeah, for sure. So why don't we talk about a little bit of music? Spotify Wrapped just came out. That's always exciting. I
Oh
love
yeah.
when Spotify Wrapped comes out. I get all giddy and go on my phone and scroll through it. What did I listen to? What did I
Yeah, I
listen
mean,
to?
I hope this artist is my top one.
Right, yeah. And then when it's somebody else, you're like, "What? I tried so hard."
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year. Um, who was your what was your number one song on Spotify Wrapped?
My number one song on Spotify Wrapped was Por el Contrario. Since I listen to a lot of Spanish songs, those are always like my top artist, top songs. But yeah, it's from Becky G. I don't know if you've heard of her or not, but I guess
I
she
think,
sings a lot of Spanish songs, but her
yeah.
most popular song was in English, was Shower. I think you might have heard of it.
Yeah, was she on Bang Bang? Was it Jessie J, Becky G, and Ariana
No,
Grande?
I think it was Jessie J. I
Jessie
think
J.
yeah, Jessie
I
J. Be
I can't
Be Be
know.
Becky G is
Becky G. The
she's
name sounds oh, Nicki Minaj. Yeah, it was Jessie J,
yeah, yeah,
Ariana
yeah.
Grande, Nicki Minaj. Yeah, I'm not even close. I'm
It's those artists that have like the initial at the last
right,
part of
just
their
one
name.
initial. You're like, it's got to be that person. No, she
Yeah.
sounds familiar. Like I feel like I've definitely heard of her.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, her most popular song in English was "Shower," and then had she's been in movies like Power Rangers, the newer one that came out. She was the Yellow Ranger. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
she's, she's you know been big, but in like two different I guess communities, two different
Yeah,
atmospheres, right? The English, the United States, and the Spanish, right? Latin America. But yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm always amazed. Well, I mean, I know I have a diverse music taste, but I'm always like, just like see my like playlist and like what it pops out for your top 100 songs, and it's just so weird. Like just the most random like assortment of genres. And I was actually quite surprised at my top artist. Nobody's gonna know, and it sounds so strange. I'm gonna probably butcher the last name, but Ramin Djawadi. He's the
Ramen Joa.
composer that did all of the Game of Thrones music. I
Oh.
listen to a crap ton of Game of Thrones music because I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, and I'd like throw the soundtracks on because they're pretty epic. And he was my number one artist this year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, but Game of Thrones is really cool. I mean, I've seen some episodes here and there because my dad really likes Game of Thrones a lot. He's watched everything. He likes like the medieval, knights, that type of vibe, like Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. I've seen a little bit of House of Dragon too. It's pretty cool. And like the theme song for Game of Thrones, I always like next
Yeah,
time
it's
I'm playing the
epic.
violin, it's always like a sensational vibe going on.
It is, yeah. My number one song was normal. It was the Spins, Mac Miller. Like that. That's not
Yeah.
cheesy. That's not like. But like when I saw that, I was like, man, did I really listen to that much Game of Thrones music?
I
Where
mean,
that?
it was probably getting you in the moment, right? You had to
Yeah.
get ready.
But every time I watched the show, it'd be like, like vibing to the, like going to the music and like, "Man, this is sweet." Like Cobra Kai. I mean, I just like the music is pretty epic. I went through the season 6 soundtrack. I started listening to some of that stuff. I was like, this is good stuff. You like work out to this. It's pretty
Yeah,
hype.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I like the music that they like make for Cobra Kai. Yeah, like the guitar, right? The just like they incorporate some 80s vibes sometimes, but like a lot of
Yeah.
like electronic, electric guitar too, and like the keyboard in it. And they also incorporate some 80s songs too in like the shows, right? Like the
Right.
throwbacks, which is always
Yeah.
always good to know. Like, oh, I know this song. I love this song, right? To hear it.
Yeah. That's always Johnny when he's listening to her.
Yeah,
And then yeah, once they throw a few in the background, I thought it was cool in the season 6 music, like during some of the fights, like when it was showing whatever dojo, like it had sort of like a cultural hints. Like there was some like Irish, and then it was like some like kind of Spanish vibe when it showed those fighters, and then it switched to like something that sounds like it'd be like out of Eastern Europe when it was showing the German fighters and like the um Russian fighters and all this stuff. So I mean, it was cool how like the music changed as it switched with the dojo, but it still stayed really epic.
yeah, yeah. It was pretty cool. I think they announced it before, like they kind of hinted it. Oh yeah, we're gonna put in some like the creators of the show. They were like, oh, we're gonna put the music depending on like the countries, and yeah, like how you said the Irish like sound and like the when the Brazilian team was fighting, they had like some music of that, and their fighting style was different, so it kind of like went hand in
Yeah,
hand to the vibe. And how you said the Spain team like for Barcelona, they had very apart from their theme song for the Furia de Pantera team, it
yeah,
was a lot of Barcelona you know little music jingles here and there, right? Because they're like in the city.
right. Yeah, no, it was really cool. It's like little stuff like that. That you like put it all together, and that's what makes the show so cool. And like how thorough they were, top to bottom. Like every level, they like thought of something unique, and they put a lot of time and energy into the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. It turned out all good. Even though they had to cut out a lot of scenes at the end, right? I was surprised too watching. I was like, everything's going so fast, right? You're in this scene and then you're in the next one immediately. I mean, there was a lot they cut, like just like more conversations, more dialogue between characters, more fighting scenes in those fights. But yeah, I mean, I guess they had to do what they had to do, and I guess that didn't work out for them, so they had to, edit it, put it all together, and it still worked out. Yeah, it still worked out good. I wish I could have seen everything, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool if they like gave all the actors like a full cut of like everything without the I love when you watch movies and you get to see the deleted scenes and like it's kind of neat, and sometimes it's like, well, I wonder why they cut that out. Like I've seen like Harry Potter fans, different there's like a deleted scene where um Dudley like says goodbye to Harry and like says like I don't hate you, and it's kind of like a wholesome moment where the two characters that like kind of one of them treated the other one like dirt, and but I wonder why they cut it out. Like what was the reasoning, the final reasoning for not including that? So it's always kind of interesting to see what the
Yeah,
full
yeah, because
deleted stuff.
some deleted scenes, it keeps you wondering, like, that could have been useful in the incorporating in that storyline. I mean, I don't know, it wouldn't make sense how they would cut it, but sometimes I guess it's time like everything doesn't fit. I guess that's another reason, even though like they released the deleted scenes later, but it's not the same. It has to be in the finished official product, right, to count.
Right. That's gotta be a crazy job. Like the people that edit and like piece together TV shows and movies and like get you this final project. Like here's 1,000 scenes that we just cut. Like we got 50 of the same one here, and we got 30 of the same one here, and like a bunch of the same one here, and all these different cuts picking the best one, meshing it all together, and like getting this finished product. It's got to be just an insane amount of
Yeah, and
stress and
the
work.
crazy part is that like when we're filming, you would think, I guess some people would think that like, oh, it's all filmed chronologically, but it's not. Like we film this part first and then this part comes here, and even when they're editing, they put some things that happen after before, right? It's I guess they have to do a lot of work because it's a lot of mix mash and putting everything together, and they do a pretty good job, I guess, for all like the people for the movies and TV shows that edit stuff.
Right, yeah, it is crazy. There's so much behind the scenes that goes into the shows that nobody pays attention to, nobody thinks about, right? Like everyone just skips through the end credits. But like all
Yeah.
those people, without all those people, you wouldn't be watching your show, but nobody sits there and watches it. You're at the theater, you get up and leave.
Yeah, unless there's like an end credit scene, like in
Right.
Marvel. Those movies
Yeah.
are always those are my favorite. Yeah. Those
Yeah,
are always fun to watch.
or like the James Bond movies, you'd wait until the end and it would say like James Bond will return or or
Yeah.
he won't return or whatever like it would
Yeah.
say, but um yeah, definitely Marvel ones, yeah, you knew there'd be something teasing what's coming next.
Yeah, which is always like Thanos, right? It was always fun seeing those. Yeah, so Marvel, those are my favorite movies. The Avengers, always fun. I've been a big fan since I was a kid. I have like a lot of Marvel stuff around here, but yeah, yeah, it's always. I can't wait to see what they're actually gonna do next, or they can live up to what they did for like the Infinity Saga. See,
Right.
see how it all works out.
I mean, there was so much building towards all that, right? You had all these individual character storylines with Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and like all of that, and then it all adding into the Avengers storyline and Infinity War, and everything was building to that. And like, where are they gonna go? What's gonna happen next? Like there's a lot to live up to, right? Like they got to fill their own shoes,
Yeah.
like what they did. Marvel's definitely the superior superhero movies. It beats the heck out of anything DC's ever done.
Even though DC is kind of like restarting, right? But it's going to be a long, long road to
Yeah,
match level up to Marvel.
but
Definitely.
DC had so many flops. Like, I mean, the Batman versus Superman or whatever. I mean, that was kind of a flop, and some of the Fantastic Four. That's DC, right?
Oh, that's
Fantastic Four.
Marvel.
Is that Marvel?
Yeah, that's
Oh
Marvel.
man.
Yeah, good.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm talking about.
they're making a new Fantastic Four that's actually gonna be leading up to this new Avengers. So they're gonna
Yeah,
even though Fantastic Four, like the original, was such a nostalgic, and I love those movies. But yeah, they're making this new team, new cast. So I wonder see how it goes.
I just feel like DC never did a good enough job. Like, I don't know how. Like, they had a lot of great heroes, but they just didn't do enough good enough job portraying them in the movies. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I was never big into Batman, but I mean, a lot of people love the Batman movies. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of really cool heroes. Honestly, if you like read deep into the comics, the heroes in DC are cooler and they have like cooler powers and better backstories than the Marvel characters, but they just did like such a crappy job making the movies.
I mean the cartoons for DC are always like top tier. So I guess they can portray their stories and their abilities more better. Even though I love the movies, I love the DC movies too. Some of them, right? Some of them are better than others, but I wish they continued with the same actors. But yeah, the cartoons are always very fun and always like amazing to watch for DC.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope maybe they'll take over now, right? Like Marvel had their time in the spotlight. Maybe DC will kind of leap forward now. It's kind of open game, right? Like which superhero comic is going to put out the next big movie. I mean, it's really up for grabs on who can do it.
Yeah, and I mean it's gonna take a long time, right, to really build everything up once again with these next 10 years, I would probably say, right? Because making movies takes about a year sometimes for these like Marvel and DC, but yeah, I mean I hope everything works out, with the fans what they want to see.
Right. You saw rumors after. Infinity War, like they were gonna like bring Iron Man back to life and different stuff, and like I
Mhm.
don't, as a fan, I don't want to see that because like I don't know, it makes his death meaningless. Like I thought that was so sad, like his funeral, and I felt like I want to cry.
Yeah,
If you bring him
I
back
love
to
that
life,
scene.
it takes it away. Like that now that scene doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if they were gonna bring back Iron Man, yeah, it would make sense. But I mean, they're bringing him back, but another way, they're making him Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr.
And that's better, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's more of an interesting taste, right? How
yeah,
the characters are gonna interact.
yeah, yeah. I like how um I know, I mean, like the rights to like Spider-Man were kind of weird there for a little bit before. I mean, like did Sony or somebody else had the rights to
Yeah,
Spider-Man before Marvel did? I think it's great that Marvel's got the rights now. I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. I think that Marvel's doing great things with Spider-Man.
yeah, I think they're sharing the rights between, but yeah, they've got some more use for
Yeah.
Spider-Man than they had before. My favorite is Tobey Maguire, always, the nostalgia one, but yeah, Tom Holland is great too, and Andrew Garfield, of course. But yeah, it's very refreshing to see how now that they have all these characters, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, how they're gonna put everything together, like for the ultimate last Avengers movie. Who knows, right?
Yeah, I saw. Oof, I said Fantastic Four was DC. It shows you how far out of the superhero loop I've been.
I mean, I see you like Star Wars. I mean,
I do like
that
Star Wars. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you?
yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not as big as Marvel, but yeah, I do like watching Star Wars a lot too.
I
Growing
haven't
up too.
I haven't kept up with the new stuff as much. I feel like they're just trying to like crank out way too many TV shows right now.
Yeah,
I think the movies are all good, like 1 through 9. They're solid. I know a lot of people didn't like the three newest movies, but I think they're all solid. And then I think like the Han Solo that story is good.
that's
Rogue
good.
One
Yeah,
was good.
I love the Mandalorian. That show is top
Yeah,
tier. One of the best. And Andor, also
I
good.
didn't watch Andor, and I didn't watch all of Mandalorian either, and it kind of fell off watching.
It kind of connects with no, it does connect with Book of Boba Fett. So I think you have to watch the first two, I think, of Mandalorian, then Book of Boba Fett, then three. It's
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah. Somebody there's a way. Yeah, the order you're supposed to watch.
but yeah, I really love the Mandalorians and Grogu, or like so they call him Baby Yoda, right? Uh, I love the whole story arc, and it's amazing to see. And I know some fans split with the new movies and with the old ones and with the prequels, but I mean, I loved watching it all. I mean, people say what they want to say, but I'll enjoy what they put out, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you've got endless opportunities for these universes, right? Like you can just keep it's endless. You can make whatever you want, new
Yeah,
characters,
new
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 events.
new stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's same thing
Oh,
with
like
Cobra Kai.
Origins.
Right? There's like so much more that there's a future. There's the new Karate Kid movie coming out, but then like I feel like there could totally be something else down the line. You've got all these new characters now. Obviously, us fans, we don't know how Cobra Kai ends, but with these new characters that they created, I feel like there's, 15 years down the line, you could have something else even sooner than that. I mean, you've got this new expanded universe now.
Yeah, yeah, they've like I said, a bunch of new characters, new storylines, especially that they incorporated really mostly in season six, which is why it was so like jam-packed, right? You have all these different characters, different stuff, right? New territory for these for the show's characters. But yeah, like how you said, the new Karate Kid movie that's gonna incorporate from the 2010, the Jackie Chan one with Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith not it's not gonna be in there, I'm pretty sure, but you never know. But it's gonna Jackie Chan, Ralph Macchio. They're gonna expand on the universe, but yeah, there could be some like what happens in the future for these characters or like origins maybe or like I said down the years we could have another Cobra Kai that comes later after a Karate Kid. So
Yeah. Yeah, you have no idea. Like once you expand that universe. Like the possibilities are endless. You always run the risk of, right, like making it bad. Like if you keep adding in, like there's always the risk. Like I'm a huge Top Gun fan, and they talked about making Top Gun 3, and the second one was really good. But now I'm like nervous. Like, what if they make a third one and it just sucks? Like, you
Yeah.
like I want to
I
see it, but
I haven't watched it, but I remember when it came out, Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, it received like high scores and
oh, you
everybody
gotta
watched
watch it.
it. Yeah, I mean, I saw some clips of it, like with the fighter jets, and when they're in the planes, it's crazy, right? Yeah, I love the
Yeah,
whole cinematography, how they filmed everything.
and they were actually in the planes, which is like
Yeah,
wild.
yeah,
Like
which
that's
makes it better,
crazy.
right?
Yeah, it was real. Those were real G-force on their face, like all that stuff, like authentic, right? Like so much stuff is fake nowadays with CGI and the way movies are. So like the authentic stuff is really awesome.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly, like practical effects, right? It's always better than CGI sometimes, even though it helps, but I guess mostly focusing on all CGI can like really bring down a movie's you know, outlook or like how people perceive it. So it's always fun, like Tim Burton's movies, or like Sam Raimi, like Spider-Man 2, when they had Doc Ock's arms, they were actually like puppets. So it's always really good and refreshing to see the practical effects, the real stuff, right?
Right. I mean, it makes the movies look smoother. You look at like you watch old movies and the special effects are so bad sometimes, so cheesy and terrible. So like it's
Yeah.
awesome for that too. Like just makes it look a little bit crisper on
Yeah,
film.
exactly. And if they're gonna focus on CGA, they have to like work on it so much to like actually make it look as smooth as possible, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, Diego, I appreciate you coming on the podcast and talking all things from Cobra Kai to your future and soccer and movies and my ignorance to Marvel apparently and everything. So it was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed, all these topics, from Star Wars to Cobra Kai, Marvel. I Sports also, that's a big part of it. Yeah, I enjoyed talking with and music too. Yeah, I enjoyed
Yes.
all
Oh
these
yeah.
topics. Very fun conversation. Thanks for inviting me and having me here, and I had a very good time.
Yeah, yeah, my ignorance in music too. Becky G and Bang Bang.
Yeah,
Nope,
Becky G.
wrong,
Yeah,
wrong, wrong, wrong person, wrong one letter.
yeah. It's
Oh,
all good. It's all
awesome.
good.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for more episodes soon.